Hey Applovers, thanks for joining again. Today we're going to go over a very important point: app analytics and user data. I'm going to say it again: app analytics and user data. Super important topic, and we're going to discuss this just in a second. If you're still wondering if an app is a must-have or something nice to have for your project, go check out this video to learn more. App analytics and user data. Now, two super important elements to have that you need to feel very comfortable with if you want to continue evolving your app. Perhaps your project is already in a more mature state and it's been 2 years in the market and your app is working actually magnificent. Or perhaps you are in a launch phase and you just launched your application a couple of months ago. Or even you just actually preparing as we speak your next application and you just want to be sure that you're going to have the right tracking system to understand the user behavior inside of your app. No matter in what stage your application finds itself, you always need to understand your app analytics and your user data so you can continue evolving your application. An app is like a constant iteration and a constant learning between the user, the end user, and your app. Because it's always going to be feeding us new behaviors and new users that are arriving to your app and are trying to do things differently from those that already were here. So this is why it's so important. I mean, think about it. Netflix has been growing in the amount of users for the last decade. How do they manage to do that? One of the key elements is really understanding your users. What are the users that I have today? What are the users that I want to have tomorrow? And what are the users that are actually not even thinking about me, but that I can attract with a specific features or specific films? And doing that study based on some analytics is going to help you actually drive more users from different markets into your ecosystem. So that's why user data, and app analytics are super important. And we can go all over what are the main key performance indicators that you need to do. For example, like number of downloads, number of active users, number of session. But I don't want to really go into details because the idea of this video is to tell you that you need to understand what is the application's value proposition and how users are getting there or not. And that's going to be the key differentiator of users staying in your application, engaging with your application, or actually just deleting it from their mobile phone. I know, it's simple. I mean, it seems very simple, but imagine that, okay, guys, data is everywhere. It's just a mountain of data all over the place. And that's useless unless you know what you want to do with that data, unless you actually go and say, no, I want to look the users that do this while I do this when they're using this functionality. And that, my friend, is specific data. And that takes time to build. You need a business intelligence expert. You need someone that knows numbers and that can actually go through all of the sea of numbers and get you that specific information that you're looking for. You can launch a new feature based on previous research and just be like, hey, I mean, I think it's gonna work. I mean, you could be right, you could be wrong. I thought that users were going to behave like this, and they actually behaved like this, and like this. Why? Because we're always basing the future evolutions on hypotheses that we have from data, from benchmarking competitors, it can be from a market research, or it can be from conducting interviews. But these are still assumptions. The actual truth is going to come out when you put the product in the market and then the users actually interact with that product. Then that's where you're going to analyze to see what went on and where you can improve or what changes you can tweak to actually speak or add more value to that specific target audience that you're looking for. Because at the end of the day, if you want an application to really go big, you need to address a very specific target market. you really need to add value to that specific target market. And then once you do that, they are going to be sharing your application to other people because they felt that you fixed their problem or that you added so much value that they're going to talk about that to the other person. I know it's overwhelming. I mean, you want to launch an app and you think and we think it's just plain and simple, no? You hire a developer, you do the application, and you throw it to the app market, and you tell a couple of friends here and there, you have a Facebook group, you do a survey, and that's it, it's good. Well, it's much more difficult than that. So you're going to compete in one of the most competitive markets in the world. So how are you going to manage to succeed? Well, by doing a step-by-step approach, by doing constant iteration based on your markets, on your target market, on your app value proposition, and on the app analytics that come with it. And having that set up since the beginning is going to be a very key differentiator between you and your competitors. Having a clear knowledge that your app has to be data-driven based on actual facts of how users interact with your product is going to help you take that application to the next level. Before I let you go, I'm going to go over the most important points that we discussed today. Number one, no matter in what maturity level your application is, you always need to know your app analytics and what is your user's behavior. So you can improve constantly and aim for better engagement, better referral, better acquisition, or even better user retention. Okay? App analytics and user data are critical. Number two, if you're bad with numbers, it doesn't matter. I understand. Not everybody's meant to that. I am not good with numbers. I think I am, but I'm probably very bad. The truth is that if you're struggling in this point, you can always look for a business intelligence support. You can always go for a data analytic agency or someone that's going to talk the numbers and actually show you how it works. But you need to have this in your team. Point number three. How do you continue evolving your application? Well, based on user behavior, based on app analytics, you understand what the users are wanting more. And finally, point number four is that understand that your app is in constant evolution. Your application is very rarely going to be awesome at the first try. You need to understand that this is an iteration process between you and your end user. And how can you make them reach the value of your app in a very quick way? This is a very important subject. I know it's complicated. If you have any questions or if you're having any struggles with your project, please don't be shy. Reach out, send me a private message, drop me a comment, whatever you want. I am always available to discuss and more than happy to learn more about your project. Before we go, please subscribe here to this channel if you want to learn more about mobile apps. Thanks for your attention, app lovers, and see you guys in the next video. Have a great week. Bye-bye.